Hey everybody, welcome to month 6 of Morning Light in Tuckertown. This month is going to be super simple, and if you started in March like most of you did, you're going to need a break about now. It's the middle of summer and everybody's garden is probably having things happen and there are vacations, and anyway, this month is going to be real simple. I've got all my parts cut. We're making 2 blocks this month. One is going to be a rail fence block just made with strip sets, and the other one is real simple, just half square triangles made with borders cut around them, so it's gonna be real easy. And the only tool we're going to be using this month is the Tucker trimmer. So with all that said, let's get going. I wanted to show you a couple tricks on pressing a strip set. So here I've sewn my 3 strips together, and I haven't done anything yet. The first thing I'm going to do is press to set my seam. So I'm just going to give those a little press. Oh my gosh, I love my iron. Okay, so I'm giving that a little tiny press just to set the seam. Then I'm going to flip my strip over with the seams facing up. And the first thing I do is kind of lay it a little bit flat, and I'm going to get those seams and just give them a little finger press. And this seems like a lot of fussing around, but really it's so worth it. So I give them a little finger press so that they are ready to receive, you guessed it, my stabilizer. So I like to use, I mentioned this before, Best Press or Niagara Spray Starch. And every time I go to the iron, I give it another little spritz. So here we go. I have this little finger pressed open a little bit. And my new favorite thing, oh, that humming is my iron taking another drink of water. Okay, so I have fallen in love with using Material Magic. So I take this, I dilute it half and half with water, and I put it into a wonderful spray container like this. If you've never had one, oh, do yourself a favor and get one. They're absolutely great. So I give that a little press. Look at that, magical. And then I'm ready to give this a little tiny press like that. Then before I go hog wild and give it steam or anything, I'm going to flip it over. And here's the magic of my tip. It looked like I had everything straight, but you can see I draw with a Sharpie a straight line right on my ironing board. And it's really helpful to get the edge of your strip nice and straight. That means, here, let me get that little straight. There, I'm nice and straight. So now I will give it a steam, and I give it a steam from the right side. And I know my seams are laying nice and open because not only I finger pressed them, I gave them a squirt of magic sauce and finger pressed those open. So that is really going to bring you a lot more luck in keeping your strips from becoming a rainbow. Now I better go give that iron a drink of water. Well, okay, we've made our half square triangles just like we usually do. We started out with 5-inch squares of color number 3 and color number 33. If you're using the Morning Light collection, this is what that looks like. If you're using your own stash, then, well, it looks like whatever colors you chose. But I wanted to show you right here, we're going to be trimming these using the Tucker trimmer. We're going to be trimming these half square triangles up to 4.5 inches. So just like always, you're going to look for your half circle marking, and if you're right-handed, you're going to put this in the upper right-hand corner, match your diagonal line right on the seam, and you're going to center it so that you have a tiny little bit to cut off. Now there is hardly anything to cut off, and I just want to demonstrate here exactly how small that is. So here I go. It's just a couple of little threads there, and then I'm going to flip it around, trim the other side, and just like usual, we're lining up the 4.5 inch marks here and here, and the diagonal line on the seam again, and up and across. Now, in So there's just a little tiny bit extra. There's, almost nothing at all. But don't forget to do it, first of all. They'll be too big and they won't fit together nice until they're trimmed. But what I wanted to say is, in the future, if you're ever making half square triangles, go ahead and make them a little bit bigger even, so you have a little bit more to trim off. This is great, but I feel a little bit more comfortable when I have more to trim off. But for the sake of sparing fabric, we cut it just 5 inches to get a 4.5 inch finished half square triangle. So just a little tip there. Okay, here I've stitched these two together and these two together. I press the seams in this direction toward the dark one so that when I put these seams together here and I stitch across, I'll be able to spin those all the same direction. Now I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the top and bottom stitched together and I pressed it, gave it a little press, and look at that. I'm going to zoom in a little tiny bit so you can see that. Oh, look at that. I absolutely love it when the seams all spin in the same direction. And I'm going to flip it over again so you can admire how everything nested together really nice because we followed the pressing instructions. And look, we have a perfect 1/4 inch seam, and that is thank you to the Tucker trimmer. And when we stitch this block together, everything will be perfect. We won't lose any of our tips. So there we go. Well, everybody, that will do it for month 6 of Learning Light in Tuckertown. So please stay tuned for month 7. And until then, happy stitching. And don't forget to post your pictures on our Morning Light in Tuckertown Facebook group page. Thanks, everybody. Happy stitching.